All right, I am pretty excited for this one. So, Pyrotechnics got a kind of a buff, if you want to call it that, in 1.5, as did Magic Missiles. So all you really need to do now is hold a button and then it just shoots out. Uh, so the thing about Pyrotechnics is that it is a four throw combo, and the last one is big damage. So what I'm going to try to do is make use of the fact that I have a lot of good weapons and shields and skills that can give me inflammable oil. Because what happens with Pyrotechnics is that it gives crits for any sort of any way that gets you inflammable oil. So right now I have that with the Thunder Shield, because in traditional tactics fashion, Thunder Shield is amazing, and you're going to see light speed real quick. I'm probably going to do a light speed run at some point. I don't know if I necessarily want to do one of those old BC type of runs where you can just have the light speed and then that's it. I don't know if I necessarily want to do that, but maybe I will. I don't know. Important to note is that last one, the last strike, what it does is that it actually gives you, it spreads fire all over the ground, so you can actually hit the shield bearers, which is really, really nice. And that was actually the 30 right there. I didn't even notice until I got it, so that was very fortunate that I didn't get hit by that little laser thing. So again, this is a tactics run, but as opposed to doing tactics melee, which is normally what I do, I actually get the chance to finally be at a range, and that's going to be really, really nice for me. So if I am going to take damage, it'll be from far away, and then I can kind of move out a little bit, and that'll be really, really, really convenient for me. Which also means I'll be taking advantage of the Tranquility mutation. I don't know if I take that right away or if I take Hunter's Instinct right away, but I do take those two mutations. Tranquility buffs damage if you're far away. I think it's the same as Marksman Bow. If you're 5+ tiles away, then you're good to go. Otherwise, it'll just do normal damage, which is really fine for Pyrotechnics because the damage is really good. That combination, especially that last hit, is excellent. And my favorite part is when you kill the elite so fast you never even see the ability. And I actually get the scroll fragment right here, so that'll actually give me an extra one going forward. I believe the devs might have said that there's 3 extra scroll fragments laid out throughout the biomes in 4 and 5 BC. I can't confirm that for sure, though. But that does exist, and that is really nice to have. And so sometimes what you'll see me do is wait for enemies to come attack me, and then I parry, and then I kill them. Because what happens is that you may have seen this with some other runs that I've done. I'm going to be uploading Fire Blast pretty much right after this. I actually completed that before this, but this was a better run. But anyways, so certain shields can actually give you inflammable oil if for an affix. And with Thunder Shield, what that ends up doing is you get that electric charge or whatever it is, and even on parries, when you kind of hold it down to do some damage, any sort of way that the Thunder Shield does damage, it spreads inflammable oil. And so that's incredibly valuable to have because with Pyrotechnics, I get easy crits. So Toxic Sewers will be kind of interesting just because of the Buzz Cutters. So Pyrotechnics does auto-aim, kind of. Not in the way the Magic Missiles does, but in the same way that a lot of ranged weapons do. So it doesn't necessarily shoot straight, but it'll go at an angle sometimes for certain enemies. So that means I can shoot off ledges, I can do a lot of things. And worth to note about that cleaver, I'm taking that for the rest of the game because that's about as perfect cleaver as I'm going to get. Because that'll outduel even I believe even level 10 or level 11 cleavers with the same exact affixes outside of the 15%. So the 15% is the reason I'm keeping it, but also it's double purple and gives me toxic synergy like within itself, and then I can pick up a Pyrotechnics with poison and bleed synergy like later on in the run. So that's going to be incredibly helpful for me. The phaser is also going to go at some point. I don't really want the phaser. It doesn't really do me much unless it spreads oil. Phaser does work pretty well, but I typically don't use phaser unless it's melee tactics. So you can see like right there, like the fourth strike does a crazy amount of damage, and that's really where the meat of that comes from. And I'm actually gonna let this shoot at me. Like I said before, it gives me some pretty good whatchamacallit. Um, I am losing my words. I apologize. It gives me the inflammable oil just on spread. And one thing that I realized that I could do is I could actually parry the eggs as they come up. They turn into the little worms, the biters, which I normally hate, but in this case it's fine. And what I can do from there is actually I get the little static charge, so that'll be really, really nice to have. And again, I'm just gonna let that thing do its little attack, and I get easy crits. And then I tactically slam into the toxic because, of course, I do. Yeah, so getting that was getting the electricity was so necessary for that elite. I could have killed it without, but it's nice to just not have to deal with it. And I'm gonna aggro this rampager, just so I can parry it, get the static electricity, and then I should be good. And it takes a while, but there we go. So now I'm emitting the static, get the little stun off, which is all the time I need to be able to get the kill, and we can just keep going. I'm not sure what exactly aggroed that enemy, but I'm cool with it. And you can see right there, like that, getting just the opportunity to be able to do that is so valuable. So I'm gonna be going back and forth a lot because I feel like I haven't seen a challenge ripped in like 3 or 4 runs, and I don't know why. I don't know if it's me that's missing it, or do the devs need to make it more obvious. I know in their AMA that I mentioned last time that one of the things that was brought up was making the challenge rips bigger. I'm going to be carrying this new slicer for a while because bleed and poison synergy is good. I don't really care that much about the piercing because Pyrotechnics doesn't pierce in the first place, so it's not that important to me. Um, Plus, it does 100% to poison, so that in itself is amazing. But that's definitely something I want to see because that'll help me out a lot in terms of just like being able to see it. And like for me, like I have some issues with seeing things sometimes. So just being able to see it more clearly and get more scrolls would be great. Like in this run, like um, I didn't get any challenge rifts, but I feel like I might have missed one. The electric charge is also really good for scoping out the different hidden walls that are there. It doesn't do it for the ones on the ground, but it does it for like the walls, and that's also really really convenient. Tempting to take, but no, not going to happen. So what's nice about this weapon is that the first couple strikes do a good amount of damage, and the last one will always finish them off. Especially like the further you get into this game and the more stats you have, it becomes extremely convenient to have. I'm gonna do the same thing. Just let him do that, and then I can go and deal with this disgusting worm. Get the kill. Easy peasy so far. This ended up actually being a really good run outside of one bad mistake that I made, but besides that, it ended up being pretty good. And what's so cool about this weapon is that it's like magic missiles. So think of magic missiles as basically the auto-target, non-fire version of Pyrotechnics. Because this weapon doesn't auto-aim, so it kind of feels like it sometimes, but it doesn't. But oh, I never even said what the cool part about Pyrotechnics are. Is you can actually stay above ground. And what that does is that if I'm like jumping from platform to platform, I can actually end up um, being able to do a good amount of damage just by like falling down, I guess. And even before like rampagers, like you saw it on that kill right there, like I don't even have to worry about a thing. And I one of the reasons I ended up with such good damage count, despite not having extra curses or despite not having any challenge ropes, was I ended up getting really good dual stat luck. And the way I play this is I just max out my damage. I don't really care about health that much because my whole thing is don't get hit. I play tactics. Like no matter how much you do your health, like you're gonna get hit. And so that mentality is what allows me to get the wins on melee tactics and stuff like that because I just go for damage. I don't worry about health because the whole thing is that if you worry about health on tactics, then you lose power. And then when you start losing power, the whole thing is you got to kill them before they kill you. And you're still going to take a lot. I mean, whether or not it ends up being like 40% as opposed to like 80% is a different thing, but you're still going to take like a crap ton of damage. So I just don't bother at this point. In 1.2, that was a different case because I was trying to bulk up my tactics as much as possible because I enjoy tactics. But what I noticed is that I just wasn't doing any damage because my damage output was just so low. And I'm going to take this one just because it gives me extra arrows, kill bats, kamikazes, things like that. So, yeah, I mean, that's just my mentality. Not, I feel like I'm in the minority on this one because most people I watch on stream or on YouTube, like, go for the health instead of the damage. And it's just different strokes for different folks, I feel. And take one last look, clear the entire map. I'm not going to bother selling the tonic because I'm lazy. And nothing I like in here. And we just keep going. And I do my little head trick just to see if there's any enemies. Doesn't look like there are. If there aren't any by the teleporter, then you're fine. It also lets me just kind of scope it out for a little bit. I might have taken the Hakuto's bow if it had Pierce, but typically I don't. I had Hakuto's bow and Boy's Axe unlocked for ranged, but I just didn't feel like taking them. Well, at least so far. Boy's X will do me a lot of good. That was actually closer than it seemed. So now I know the not bombardiers, the bombers actually saw me, and that one is bugged right now. It's not, for whatever reason, it just didn't feel like dropping down, so I had to take advantage of something quickly. And this was a little chaotic. And now I can just let this thing shoot at me and then get the parry. Very fortunate that I didn't get hit in this entire segment, honestly. Like that could have been a lot worse than it actually ended up being. And the nice thing about being ranged is that with the slammers, I don't have to worry about having to like go kill them up front. And also, it's doing a great job against the bats, honestly. Like, I couldn't ask for anything more. And again, nothing. Thing I really like. My shot block wasn't the best in this run. But then again, it is difficult when you're looking for something very, very specific. In this case, I'm looking for inflammable oil and double purple. So I can definitely see why my luck wasn't as good as it could have been. But then again, like, it's not like bad luck or anything. I was just being incredibly selective. And just that ball of chaos right there got me the kill. That was nice. That felt good. That was pretty close right there, too. And I forgot for that brief second that slammers can't get stunned. So, yeah, very lucky that nothing happened. And that should get me the easy kill right there. And there we go. We just keep moving along. And switch out the amulet because double jump is always nice to have. And DR for whatchamacallit, the projectiles. So we're going to see what we have. I forgot about the Hayabusa Gauntlets. I thought about taking it for a while, but that doesn't really do me much good in the context of this run, which is supposed to be focusing on Pyrotechnics. I think the only damage I've actually taken so far has been from the Toxic. Which, thank God I wasn't cursed at the time. Just kill the last two enemies for a little extra money. And then we're going to move on to Ancient Sewers. That'll be fun. I've been ramping it up with the difficulty lately in terms of what biomes I go to, because there is a hard path in this game. So for those who don't know, the easy path is, this is somewhat debatable, but the easy path is you go to Promenade, and then you go to Prison Depths, and then you go to Ossuary, and then You fight Concierge, and then after that you go to Stilt, and then depending on what you're comfortable with, you can go to Sepulchre or you can go to Clock Tower. I think Sepulchre is infinitely easier because cannibals don't exist in Sepulchre, and the hardest enemies there are, I would honestly say, the knife throwers because they're hidden. Cleavers are also up there too. But cleavers are, for a fat enemy, they're actually pretty fragile, so they're not that bad. Um, and then you go fight the giant, and then you go to Hand of the King directly. So that's the easy-ish mode. I mean, the game's hard no matter how you play it, but that's pretty much how, like, what it is. Alternatively, you can do the Toxic Sewers, Corrupted Prison route, and then you can go to not Ancient Sewers. You can go to Ramparts, and then Concierge, and then the rest of that. And so the hard mode is what I'm doing, and then what you saw in my Wrenching Whip run. If for those of you who saw it, if not, then I highly recommend you watch it because it's pretty chaotic and amazingly fun. And so this route is going to be pretty much all the hard stuff, all the ones that I hate. And Ancient Sewers for me is one of the most difficult levels for one reason, and that's tentacles. Ancient Sewers is manageable before, but it is a pain when you have to look at where they're going, and then their pattern is unpredictable sometimes. Sometimes they roll, sometimes they don't, and I can't handle it sometimes. And given that I'm Super Glass Cannon right now, they do a lot of damage. And tentacles in general are very unpredictable because sometimes they'll shoot up and sometimes they'll do the little, they'll move. And that's when I have the most difficulty, is like accurately predicting it. Especially when you need them to be up. Like, it's not like all the other boss enemies where you can just use your head on them, or just any enemy in general where you can just use your head on them. Tentacle are, I think, the only ones where you can't, and that's where I run into a lot of problems. So we're going to kill all the enemies around us before we deal with the elite. Like right there. And that's the kill, easy kill. And tactically slam into the Toxic again. And that one was actually bad because that really cost me a lot. Because I hadn't gotten hit yet. And I guess it doesn't matter because the tentacles are going to cause me a lot of problems anyways. And plus the build is good, so I don't necessarily have to worry about, trying to get the 60. But still, like, it would have been nice to have the option. And we're just going to go and battle this elite. And I dodged it I parried at the last second. I barely saw it. I'm still trying to figure out how to parry those. Like, I'm not good at the timing. So, I'm just trying to figure that stuff out still. But the run's going good so far. It's just this one, and then this one is just tough. This is just a tough level. This and I would say Graveyard are tough. Graveyard is manageable if you know how to deal with certain things. But this one is tough because of the tentacles. Like, I struggle with it all the time. do my little parry trick again. Always feels nice when I do that. So far, the biters haven't really done too much to cause me any issues, but they're biters. They're going to cause me issues at some point. Or so I think. I rarely end up having good luck with the biters. I think I've had one run total where I have, and that was super close. I think I've had one run total where I've had any sort of like swarm grenade or anything like that. I think swarm grenade is atrociously bad. I'm gonna take this for a while just because the bleeding is really, really nice to have. I don't really care about critical hits that much. 60% is infinitely more than 20, so if I get hit by even one of those bombs, I end up getting the knockback, and then that knocks me into other bombs, and because I'm tactics, I'll end up dying, which is, it's happened to me before. It's not fun. I'm just trying to figure out the best route to get there. So we take care of that. And that was a little nice bit of chaos right there, but we get through it somehow. And this is the... I was not happy here. Because I did everything that I was supposed to do, but there were 2 tentacles, and what I'd like to see in 1.6 is the tentacle cost is reduced to 1, because dealing with 2 is extremely difficult when you have other enemies that you have to be battling. I don't think that should be in Ancient Swords. It's super, super rare. And I'm just spamming because I see enemies over there, and I'm just like, I don't know how to handle. And I don't even know what's going on the other side. It's been such a long time since I've gotten hit by these spikers. Spikers are the little mushroom guys. It's been such a long time since I've gotten hit by them, though. So, plan on keeping it that way. Yeah, and there's 2, and so this is the problem that I run with. I end up having really, really often. Well, often it's only 2, but again, that's just the problem with the tentacles. I didn't get hit there, but again, there's 2 tentacles, and I think the cost really needs to be reduced down to 1. So the cost is just basically how many enemies there are on a platform. There really shouldn't be 2. So that causes me so many problems. And I am going to be taking this, but I shouldn't have taken it, because we're going to have problems upcoming. And to be fair, this is my fault. This one is my fault, because I stooped. Like, granted, the lifesteal ended up, not the lifesteal, the recovery ended up not giving me that much damage, but I shouldn't have down smash. You never down smash in this level, and in Toxic Sewers. So I really should have had 60, but I didn't because of my own carelessness. But the good news is that I do have the 15% kebab, and it does and it heals up a little bit of melees, which is, again, it's not really relevant in tactics runs, but whatever. And we're just gonna go and take the food, hit up the shops, just see what else there is to do in this level. There's not much left. One of the nice things about these commentary videos is that I can just go grab a glass of water when there's just like nothing happening that I can really commentate on. So that's why sometimes when you hear long pauses, that's typically what I'm doing, multitasking. Unfortunately, we don't get the 60. I really should have, but it is what it is. It's not the biggest deal in the world, but it's Conjunctivious time. All right, so Conjunctivious time, and there is a bit of an issue in this battle, and I'm going to tell you what happens. Not in terms of the damage, but in terms of just a collection of bad timing and everything else. But, so we're going to try to get the inflammable oil as soon as possible, and the biggest issue is just going to be the tentacles, as usual, because they've already caused me a few problems. But so far, so good. And now I have pretty much permanent oil, I want to say, because I think all of these guys have oil on them. So I'm just gonna wait for him to come and get under the cleaver so he takes some extra damage. Wait for him to charge at me. Now I get the crits, and so it's really convenient. So that charge attack does a lot of damage. It does like about 40%. And if I were to take a hit from the lasers, I would have been okay. And what ended up happening there was my food actually came. And so I got the call. And I had to pause. And then, so there's a little bit of a skip there. Not too much, but it was all good. Like, I was in a safe zone at that point. But I couldn't leave the pizza guy hanging. Pizza was good, though. So that was nice. And for whatever reason, the platforms disappear, but they're still kind of visible, and I roll into him like an idiot. But we're almost done. And that's a perfect Conjunctivious fight. And this is the first time since like 1.2 or 1.3 I've gotten a perfect Conjunctivious fight, so I'm feeling myself. I'm proud of myself on that one, because that's never going to happen ever again, because I suck. So, I don't suck, but I don't know. It's just really cool to get that. I was expecting to take at least one hit, but I didn't, and then that's fine. I don't know why the platforms disappeared, but it is what it is for that. And we're going to hit up the graveyard. So, after taking my pizza break, got to get back onto this, and thought about taking the corrupted power for a second because of the inflammable oil, but I just want to maximize my damage. And plus, the sinew slicer has been doing really, really good for me. So why even bother? So I can stay at 23 tactics. I can just build this up throughout, and then I should be okay. And like I said, like I've been getting pretty good luck in terms of like my affixes and just the overall weapons. Shops have been pretty bad, but besides that, I've been okay. And right away, we're going to get our um, little charge thing. Doesn't really do much. Biters are going to be an issue. This is, I believe, the first full biome in which I have these biters. And Cleaver is going to do a lot of help for areas like this. And the Masochist is going to help in case I get hit by the spikes. There's a lot of spikes in this level. So capping that at only 10%, especially as fragile as I am, is going to be amazing for me. 50% and 20% on crit is actually better than what I have right now. Especially because if I don't get hit, then I can end up taking things later on, like the kebab or drumstick and things like that. There's usually an Inquisitor up there, or there's Catcher and a Pirouette Zombie. So that's why I make sure that I handle them before anything else. And now I get the Inflammable Oil, kill him in one combo, and I get a +3, so that's really, really nice. And Down Smash gives me Inflammable Oil. I try to throw the Cleaver, but that doesn't exactly work because you have to be close for it to happen. I don't really understand how that works, but whatever. And the Cleaver is preoccupied with bombers, or with the biters, so I'm okay. Gonna wait for that to hit me, pick up the scroll, and then now I have charge for the next 8 or so seconds. And that's really, really useful. And there is a protector somewhere, so I need to go find out where it is. Protectors are a pain in the ass. I'm going to wait for the cannibal to come back up here and then just start shooting. And now I can go take care of that. Oh, I guess the protector already died, I assume. Siri just went off for me. I don't know why. But now we can actually fight this thing head on. And get the easy kill. Any other... unless I get like a 75% on +3 tactics, I'm not going to take it. No point. But I'm at 50. Now I get the 50% boost because I'm at 100% health. So now I'm good to go here. And I hope I can sustain that for as long as possible. But I'm feeling fairly confident right now. Wasn't expecting to get hit there. I'm just waiting on that slasher to come anywhere near me, or for the thing to wear off. The jump is a lot easier when you have a speed boost or when you have an extra jump, which I currently have. So otherwise, it just takes a few tries usually for me. My precision on jumping isn't exactly amazing. I mean, it's okay. It's just not amazing, I would say. I'm going to be feverishly checking for any challenge rifts because with Masochist, I'm more inclined to take it. And I get my 100% boost back, so that's nice. And now we're at 226 and 2, so this is about as glass cannon as I can possibly get without it being like only one per. That would be miserable to deal with. And biters actually helped me quite a bit. I'm just gonna let the static run out, and now we get our very totally important cells. I think something they might do in 1.6, as per their AMA, is actually the devs AMA. That is actually have a way so we can put in cells in 5B scenes. That would be nice because I have so many skins that I haven't unlocked yet. Like, that would be amazing. I don't know what enemy that was, but I'm just glad that it died. Now 227 and 2. Oh boy. Any sort of damage that we take is gonna suck, except for spikes. Spikes are our friends. Only 10%. Masochist is amazing. Because if I got hit by a single spike at that point, it would have dropped me down to 1 HP. So that would have sucked. Yeah, Sinew Slicer is helping out a lot with that bleeding causes poison and toxic synergy. It's so convenient. And get a food shop right there, so if I get hit, I can just always run back, and I should be okay. Spoiler warning, I am going to get hit. It's Graveyard, and I'm running a Tactics build. I'm going to get hit at some point. But so far, we're doing okay here, which usually I don't. But I've been wanting to challenge myself more with this lately. But even the hook does like 10% or so to me, which is a large amount for something that isn't supposed to do a lot of damage. It's the kick and the other attacks by the cleaver that do all the damage. It's not the hook that does damage, so that gives context for how crazy this damage output is. And I'm pretty sure the curse is here, yeah. The curse is always under the Ram rune. It was just the first one I thought was the curse chest, which I would have preferred, but we are going to be taking that because it gives me oil and it's +2, and I don't feel like running a shield anymore. So I had my fun. Thunder Shield had its fun. And this is going to be tough because there's an Inquisitor there, and you don't see it, but there's also a Protector. So I have to time everything just perfectly for me. And there we go. That's the curse. We're good to go. And just some bonus chaos for you guys. Keep in mind, I don't have a shield anymore, so... Yeah, so we got out of that pretty unscathed, so we're okay. And we can just keep on going. And biters are going to cause me some trouble right here. I'll only see them at the very last second, so I'm very fortunate. And if you, you're going to see it right here. Down to 0 HP. That's nice. But we get back down to 42, so that's also really good. I forgot that I didn't have a shield anymore, so I was trying to parry, but I don't have a shield anymore, so it knocked me down to 0 HP, aka 1 HP left. Yeah, that was the first time I got hit in this level too. So, oh boy, But luckily for me, there is the food shop if I need to go back. But 40, I'm at 42. I'm okay. I don't make that mistake again, I think. But what a time to make that mistake, right? Now we're just going to keep re-rolling because I don't want the pyrotechnics that I currently have because I'm not going to be at 50%. Even if I take no matter what food I take, I'm going to not be at 50%. So I need something with poison and bleeding. And for some reason, I take that one and not the other one. I don't know why. That was kind of stupid on my part. And we go into the wrong door first. And I don't feel like fighting those enemies because at this point I'm just like, I would rather not. So there is a mechanic in this game that if you take a hit that should kill you, it will drop you down to 1 HP. So that's especially useful in tactics builds because that would have knocked me out completely. I mean, in reality, any hit was going to knock me down to 1 HP, which is why the whole point of tactics is kill them before they kill you. But then if you're like me and you're an idiot and you forget that you have a shield, then you are in trouble. So that was something. That was something. Gonna wait for this guy to come up. Bombers are the only enemy that wouldn't have killed me. Inquisitors are strong. Like, make no mistake. Voice Axe is actually going to be pretty helpful in this run. I didn't see those either, so I think one hit would have done like 20% to me. Those biters aren't supposed to do a lot, but again, tactics and 229 and 2, that was going to do a lot. So yeah, we're on a different planet right now. But we're gonna hit up the caverns finally, and we can just, just time to breathe. Time to breathe. We got to 60 though, so that's nice. And the Wave of the Nile is looking pretty nice. So buy Sinew Slicer, but the Sinew Slicer did a lot for me, so I'm very, very happy with how it turned out. It's been doing well for me lately, but it needs very specific affixes in order for it to like have any sort of good effect. Because there's like a million other ways to get bleed synergy. So caverns without a shield is very difficult because of the arbiters. So I'm gonna be using my head a lot, and as is traditions in caverns, I'm gonna get a lot of frame rate drops. So yeah, there's gonna be a lot of skipping here, unfortunately. The Wave of the Nile is gonna be really useful against these demons. But it does, this thing does give inflammable oil, so that's nice. The Boy's Axe, that is. So I do see him, and we got some chaos right here. But the thing is, if you run into the demons, then they do fall, so that's also really, really nice. The ground shakers cause so many frame rate drops. I don't know why. They're a complicated enemy for sure. I'm just waiting for enemies to come down, but looks like they don't want to. We got through that part fine somehow. I don't know how, but and I aggro the Arbiter. Oof. But we should be able to kill it right here. The Tranquility is doing a lot of help as well. We're just going to keep using the head on the Arbiter and demons, wherever appropriate, of course. It's just easier like that. And the good news is that the Boys Axe is one-shotting. So whenever we can, we'll use the Boys Axe to snare. Whenever it's not, we'll just use it to um, do some extra damage. Those things are weird. Like, they only hit you if they drop directly on your head. But if you roll into them, it doesn't do any damage. I don't know why. It's weird. Ground Shakers in general are just super buggy. I mean, and when I'm playing, it doesn't factor. But when I'm recording, it factors. So I may need to start considering that going forward with this level. Just keep using the head on the arbiters whenever appropriate because I don't have a shield. The wave of denial is also helpful. And I see a lot of enemies down there, so we're going to just use the head on like every single one. I saw a few demons down there too, so yeah. There's at least 3 or 4. But they come in pairs, so I think 4. Yeah, 4. And then the skeleton, and then there's another slammer. So just keep using my head until I kill all of them before dealing with that elite slammer. Because otherwise I would die. It's not the most fun thing to play or to watch, but you do what you have to do sometimes. And Boys Ox was super helpful right here. Again, it just snares the enemy, so I'm okay there. And now I'm using the head to scout, just because enemies can come in any way in open platforms like that. So I go towards where I think there's going to be more enemies. So for skeletons and like other fragile enemies, using the Boys Axe is going to be really, really helpful for me. Ground Shakers are fairly bulky, but they're not that bad. Yeah, I thought I had more range than I actually did. So I saw a skeleton down there, but Wave of Denial actually killed that too. So I was surprised when I didn't see it. I guess it has a bigger range than I thought, or maybe it just went through platforms. I have no idea. Like no idea. Like this is one of the longest runs I've ever had. And you'll see the time by the end of it. Like it's a long run. I've never gotten hit by a skeleton because they're so slow, which is helpful. And Arbiter's shooting at me, and I'm scared, so... Because I don't have damage reduction anymore. I lost all my damage reduction. So, you can use the head-on ladders, which is really nice. The best way to deal with the ground shakers is to honestly just go right next to it because it has a really slow attack pattern. And I almost got hit by that. I wonder if it would have only done 10%. I might need to try that out next time. Next time I'm on 4 BC. So what I do to unlock skins is that I cheese 4 BC like crazy. And the way I do that is basically I just make it so it's impossible to lose. Like, curses are worth nothing. Like, you can set the curse level. And then I set the mutations to like 1 billion. So, and that's just so I can unlock skins and stuff like that, because otherwise I would just play 5 BC if I was actually taking it seriously. But I may try that with Masochist and then the little thing. I don't know what it's called. It is a trap, but I don't know if it only will do 10% or anything more. Cleaver, this level 7 Cleaver is amazing. Like, there was no reason to ever get rid of it, and it does 15%, so that was like the perfect synergy for me. Boyzax is doing an excellent job of snaring right now, and providing its own damage. Like, it really is doing an excellent job for me. I'm gonna wait for the ground shaker to come back so I can ground pound them. But no issues so far with the recording. It'll come. It'll probably come. So we're at 34, 2, 34, and 2. Ooh. Talk about glass cannon. I've said that word. I've said that phrase so many times. I'm gonna get sick of it. I'm gonna do a survival build on my next run because I just my last several have been like glass cannon tactics when my anxiety's like through the roof, and I need a good old survival run with like no consequence, and I just need to worry about melees and there's demons coming after me, because of course there are. Got lucky to avoid that. I'm not gonna use my head, and there's an arbiter too. So if I went up there, that might have been the run. So not dealing with that. It's all bad. There's 2 demons up there. Use my head on them from the ladder. Again, just playing it nice and slow. No reason to do anything other than that. And then I got a failed experiment that's there for some reason. I just don't want any to aggro towards me, especially when they're grouped like that, because I already made that mistake. And my last second dodge is the only reason that I didn't get hit. If I had gotten hit, that would have been at least 80% of my health. Probably more, honestly. Like with my wrenching whip run, like if you saw that, then one slammer hit does all of my damage. And the Inquisitor already did all of its possible damage to me, so yeah, not taking any risks here. Which, I mean, I could have gone to Sepulcher, but I mean, where's the fun in that? I'm already doing the hard route, so why not just go to Caverns? Just say screw it, go to Caverns. Hardest level in the game. Very fortunate that nothing happened to me right there. But I can just fire off my Pyrotechnics. There's 2 demons and there's an elite down there. I'm too high up for the demons to aggro me, so I'm just going to use my head on them again. But in a very safe manner. And then I'm going to aggro the failed experiment when it comes over, whenever it feels like doing that. Boyzax is amazing. And there's no pressure to parry either. Like, that's the best part of it. Oh, I really wanted that, but we'll get it at some point. Spoiler alert again. We'll get that at some point. But I just don't want to waste my money right now, in case I do need to heal and go to a food shop or something. That's actually the end of the level right there. You can tell by the way the level curves. So there's 2 demons up there. Use the Wave of Denial. Wave of Denial did a lot for me this run. More so than usual. I haven't used it in a long time. I already know it's amazing, but there was not a situation where I needed to use it or where I felt it was absolutely necessary. But here, yeah, definitely necessary for me. So with the slammers, the Boy's Axe does kill, but just to be extra safe, I'm firing the Pyrotechnics because it's not going to move. And for me, that's just a much safer option than hoping that it'll kill, especially when I've had that situation before where it's not going to, like, what is it? It's not going to kill, and then it runs towards me, and then I get hit, and I'm down to 1 HP, and then I got to spend money on. Yeah, don't want to put up with that. That's such a pain for me. I wonder what's down there. I never went. And I guess I slammed down fast enough so the demons never saw me, which was fortunate because they would have probably started shooting at me. That would have been very unpleasant. And the Wave of Denial is actually killing demons without actually, like, slamming them into walls, so that's really nice. And, whew, that was close right there. Almost done with this level. I spent a long time here because I felt it was necessary. That's killing the Ground Shaker on, like, the first hit. I believe that's the last. No, Arbiter, of course. We went through caverns without an issue with the recording. I'm so proud. I'm like a proud little mama right now. Like, that never happens. And the few times that I've gone to caverns for this recording, for recording and stuff, like, it always has a severe frame rate drop. And I did have, like, a frame rate drop or two, but not enough where I had to, like, skip an entire section. So that was really, really nice. So we're gonna go fight the giant. Oh, that was a level. And I didn't get hit either. That's the first ever time I no-hit caverns. The Wrenching Whoop one should have been no-hit, but I got kind of screwed on that. But, yeah, just, that was amazing. That felt amazing. So now it's giant time, and we're gonna see how this one goes. It's gonna be fun. It'll be fun. I've been doing pretty well against giant lately. And my Wave of Denial didn't work, so that rendered my strategy useless. But the Boy's Axe giving me automatic crits is nice. But the hands are going slower because I have freeze. So that's going to be really difficult to deal with. So I need to time it a little bit better. Overall, the freeze to enemies is nice, but it's still not ideal. The crystals gave me a friendly pattern. And we just have to do this one more time. And don't have to deal with the lasers. One shot, we're done. Perfect giant fight. That's a relief, honestly. I'm glad. Just wait for the dialogue. Are an incorrigible ass. That will never not be funny to me. I know I'm not like laughing, but that's also because I'm really tired. But very happy with that fight. And we're gonna go to High Peak Castle because I'm gonna have two scroll fragments, and High Peak Castle has two scroll fragments. So that'll bump me up by three stats. So I'm definitely taking that. It'll bump me from minimum 36 to 39, and if I get a friendly dual stat, then I'll be able to get that. Um, I would have been at 40 if I hadn't taken this, but I felt like inflammable oil I can get that elsewhere, so it's not the biggest deal in the world. But I did want to reforge my wave of denial first, see if I got inflammable oil. And I didn't see this until afterwards, but that had biters on it, so that could have cost me, but whatever. Really short cooldown too, so um, and plus the Boys Axe gives me just ridiculous synergies, so I don't really go to HPC anymore unless I fight Timekeeper or in situations like this where I have two scroll fragments or three, and I can get an extra scroll. But typically, I don't do it anymore just because it's a pain. Like, why even put myself at risk of getting hit? But again, I just wanted to maximize my damage. I knew that I had the potential to get to 40. Wave of Denial is just doing so much work. And I was hoping to get a Boys Axe with inflammable oil at 2. Again, it's just so specific. It's really difficult to get that. And I learned my lesson with Inquisitors in graveyards, so I'm not dealing with that ever again. But apparently not, because I almost got hit right there. Just weird Inquisitor placements. Just weird Inquisitor placements. I don't like them. At least they're not Arbiters anymore. Get some much needed health. The Legendary also gave me a lot of health. But, I mean, not enough to justify, but... I mean, yeah, not enough to really warrant trying to go for health. Again, like, I'm at 6,000. It's not a lot. And I'm just playing it super safe right now because I don't want that Inquisitor to aggro me under any circumstances. Well, not aggro, but more so like I don't want it to see me under any circumstances. So I'm going to try to see if I can get the head over there. It's not going to happen because I'm too far away. So we're going to have to at least dodge one. And over there, he doesn't see me, so I'm okay. I will say, for as annoying as they are, I actually really like the design. I think it's a really cool design. It looks like a Cyclops a little bit. And like again, I have Masochist, so worst case scenario is that like, oh, I got hit, but I only take 10%, so I'm okay. I don't know stupid biters, but thankfully, Royal Guard didn't do anything to me. Yeah, I was trying to see what. Yeah, I think that was when I realized, oh crap, my Wave of Denial has has biters. Biters should just be eliminated from having an affix. It's really annoying. Because they're so undisciplined. And the bomber is being stupid, so I'm just going to let him die to that. And gonna use my wave of denial here just to kill all the enemies. And I almost got hit there again because the stupid biters aggroed the upward shot from the Lancer. So I almost got hit there. Thought about taking the root grenade, but that wouldn't have made sense. The phaser wouldn't have made sense either. I thought about taking it, but it did spread inflammable oil, but it just... I thought about taking this decoy too, but again, it's just... I think it had biters, so I was just like, there's no point. I had pretty bad luck in the shops. Stupid demon. But luckily, didn't do anything to me. Wave of Denial is killing enemies, so that's a really encouraging sign. I'm gonna aggro this Rampager just so he can, I can fight this elite not cannibal Lancer one-on-one. Get the easy kill. There we go. And got some Inquisitors to deal with. I don't know where he went, but there he is. Yeah, I think the devs are still working on the bombers because they're really, really tough to... even like the field experiment, the little parade that they have on 5BC in Astrolab, like they've been trying to work on that, but it's been really tough for them when I asked them. Because they had another session to address all the controversy with 1.5. Now that I think about it, it really wasn't that much of a controversy because the game ended up balancing itself out. Just play safe, use the head on the Inquisitors because again, one hit's going to get me down to 1 HP. So... I shouldn't have rolled that way, but luckily I didn't get hit. And here I do something that I shouldn't have done. I didn't have to pay for it, but I was able to duck and roll out of the way. So I was okay there, but ideally I should have played that a little bit better. A few more enemies to kill, and then we can get out of here. But the Explorer's Rune is actually a lot easier to do High Peak Castle now. And I'm gonna go for... I guess I'm not going for the Inquisitor right away. And I think that's it. No, there's a few more enemies. And the bomber kills himself to spikes. And I can actually see what enemies are in these maps, which is extremely helpful. And I know for a fact that the Boy's Axe is killing almost every enemy now. The only enemy I don't know about is the is the Guardian Knight. It's the only one I don't know about. So we're just gonna take all these enemies up here. Wave denial on that. Kill the Rampager. And now we have the Slasher. And he's shooting, he's attacking one way, so I can just get out of there safely. My commentary is calm, but in the moment, that was a little scary. Because it's not just the fact that I'm getting hit, it's the fact that certain enemies have combos. Like Inquisitors are okay because they don't combo, but Lancers, or not Lancers, well, Lancers do, but Slashers have that combo that's really quick, especially the elite ones. So typically you don't want to deal with that. And so if you get hit, then you get the knockback, and then from there, you're screwed. So that told me right there that the Voice Axe may or may not kill. For some reason, the Voice Axe it released right away, so I'm not sure what happened there, but you can kill this guy, and in reality, we probably could have just let him sit there and bleed to death, but whatever. At this point, I just kind of want the run to be over. It's been over an hour at this point. Well, not in-game, but between cutscenes and all that stuff, it's been over an hour. It's not really what I'm used to, honestly. So I do see an Inquisitor up there, so we're going to use our head again, because I'm frightened of Inquisitors at this point. I'm going to wait for the cannibal to start moving to the left. Now we can go for it. There's another Inquisitor up there. Get out of harm's way, and we're safe. And Dark Trackers. This is going to be a little challenging because I don't get burned, but not really. The Wave of Denial actually kills it, which is interesting. But I think it's I had multiple synergies on it, so that's probably why. And now we can just run towards the end and then go to Hand of the King. I got some much needed health, so that was nice. That's another reason to go to High Peak Castles, those dual stat scrolls. Now we're at 38. If that Voice Axe had inflammable oil, I would have taken it, but it didn't. As tempting as that was, stun does wear off on bosses, and Wave of Denial would be really helpful with Hand of the King's bombs. I don't know how much I actually take advantage of that, but it's still nice to have. Alright, so we are in the home stretch of this, and it's going to be tough. But I think the Voice Axe is going to actually help a lot here, especially in terms of snaring. And then I'm getting the crits right away. And the Wave of Denial is so helpful right there. So helpful. And with the Cleaver, I'm just going to do my best. And then he's dead. very lucky I didn't get hit anywhere. And wow, that was a very quick fight. I played it pretty safe at the end just because I was like, I don't know if I necessarily want to, be in a position to get hit. So I figured I'd just drop the cleaver and then let it do its thing. But astrolab time, and again, it's just going to be kind of a pain. I think at this point in the run, I was just tired, and again, another double damage, but for me, the double damaging, I'm not a big fan of it. The only time I ever take it is like Cursed Sword, and that's it. At least the boss battles have been super quick, so that's been nice, but the biomes have been super slow. As like the trade-off. So my down smashers are doing, they're killing bombers, so that should give enough of a hint as to how this damage is working out for me. And Boy's Axe is killing everything. And our boy decides to be buggy again. Invisibility is probably the best one to have in terms of the elite abilities. Wasn't expecting to fall there, but luckily all that was there was a master, no slammer or anything. And the bomber doesn't feel like aggroing towards me, so we're gonna let it aggro over here. And for sure that kills the slammers now. Like I don't have to deal with any of the how much which enemies are different and stuff. Like they for sure kill slammers now, so that's also good to know. And that decoy is going to be pretty helpful. But I don't need it right now, so no need for me to take it. And plus, I want to get a little bit more money, because I do want to reforge my mutations at the end. But I haven't reforged my mutations yet, so it's only going to be 1,000 gold. So that's going to be pretty helpful. And another elite. So we're already doing a lot with these elites. Yeah, that was a little scary sequence, but we got past it. That's the second elite, one more, and then we're done. So that was not fun. But that's the nice thing about this weapon is that you can actually, again, like I said earlier, like you can fire from a long distance. And not just a long distance, you can also fire while you're up in the air. For a limited amount of time, of course, but it's something. And that's stuck in elite, so we get them right away, which is nice. And get the quick kill. And now we just need to check out the second shop, and then check out the, whatchamacallit, the treasure chest, and then we should be good to go. And then we can go to the castle portion. So no chance at the boys axe, so we're not going to be getting the 40, unfortunately, but that's okay. 39 is still plenty. Definition of a first world problem right there. But I do like getting the 40. It's always a nice achievement, especially without any challenge rips or anything, and extra curses. So that it was pretty cool. Well, I say 39, but like I'm at 38 right now. But I do get a dual stats scroll. It took a while to fall down. I don't even know where he fell. We're getting through this pretty quickly, more so than usual. Drop our little cleaver, kills instantly, and that's our last elite, I think. Should be, anyways. And I was just inside the box, so that was also nice. The boxes are super cheap sometimes. Don't like them. I almost got hit by the laser. I don't think it does that much damage, but it's still significant enough to like make you have to kind of rethink it. Killed the wrong enemy, the boys axe, but we get past that slammer quickly. Don't down slam next to a slammer. You're going to get hit, and it's gonna suck. My brain saw me instantly. That could have been bad. We're just waiting. Now we can use the wave now, kill that thing. We're at the home stretch of this level. Finally. I was really hoping for a challenge rift. But it just was not going to happen. It's not meant to be. I still had Masochist, so I would have been completely fine if I took a hit. Unless I took like 9 or 10 hits, I would have been fine. And so there's the big mob up there that's traditional for this level. So I realized I had the head on the shielded enemy, so that's not going to be fun when I try to get up there. So first things first, kill the slammer. Wave denial is useful for that. That failed experiment is ready to pounce on me. $40 would have been a nice round number to cap off this run, but sadly it wasn't meant to be. That bomber is ready, so I gotta get over to the middle, let him down slam. I gotta see what's up there. Doesn't look like it's that much. There's a reason I don't speed run. And as a tactics player, speed running is not good for me. And now just gotta fight the 2 elites, go back to the shop, and then that's the end of Astrolab. So we did Astrolab pretty quickly, more so than usual. So I keep the cleaver on here just in case the slammer wants to come play. And they both fall to their death. I mean, how you decide to deal with those slammers is up to you. If you have a survival build, it's fine to like go up there. Or if you have like a knife dance and lacerating aura, like that combination, it's also fine to do it. But typically, I just say screw it, use the elevator. But lately, I haven't been doing that. But this run, there's no chance of me doing that. Not gonna happen. And we're never going to take that decoy because that's infinitely more useful for me than the Wave of Denial for the last boss. And it also gives me inflammable oil, so that also works in my favor. That's a crazy high damage output for no extra curse chest and no challenge rips. And again, like I don't know if like I actually had the challenge rifts or not. I never saw them, but I like to think that I'm pretty good at noticing them. But I've seen a couple runs where I didn't see them, so maybe not. But I'm just happy that I kept that cleaver for that long. Like it would have been better than like literally anything else. So we're gonna go with triage, instinct, and I think support. Yeah, that sounds about right. Because I have the decoy and the cleaver for support, emergency triage for healing, and instinct because Hunter's instinct doesn't really work here. So instinct of the Master of Arms is way better. Just gonna let this one run. I'm not gonna do any commentary over it. Outside of saying decoy and cleaver, amazing combination. And that's it. That's the run. Very, very long one, but I'm glad that got the win here. I hadn't used Pyrotechnics in a good long while, so it was nice to get the win here. And plus, that was a really quick collective fight. All the bosses were super, super quick outside of Conjunctivius, but that's more Conjunctivius than me. But yeah, thank you all for joining me. And try this build out. Try a lot of tactics builds out. It's high risk, high reward, but it's fun. Feel free to give me a like and subscribe for more Dead Cells content and future Pokemon content. And with that, I'm going to be signing off. Have a great night, everybody.